These are the False Anchors Workers Edition playing cards. The front just has an anchor and says False Anchors. Both long edges are going to be blank. The back is going to be blank. The top is going to say False Anchors, and inside the O of anchor has a chain inside. And the bottom has some ad copy. The large inner tuck flap is blank, and the two small inner tuck flaps have anchors as well. So now let's get into the playing cards, which is the thing that makes this deck absolutely astounding. And without anything else, this back design is both complex and simple enough to be a deck that I'd already do Magic with, even if there was no other benefits. But it also happens to be a marked deck. Marked decks are when you can look at the back design and know what the faces are. But it's not just marked for suit. It's not just marked for value. It also has markings to determine if it's a red or a black card. So now we're up to 3 different ways it's marked. It has a way to determine if it's round or flat, and it has a one-way indicator. So this back design has 5 different markings on these playing cards. And on Sunday, I'm going to drop a tutorial on how to read them. The other thing that it has is it's in a very specific stack that if you look through all these playing cards, it looks seemingly random. But for those of us who can do a perfect Faro, if you split it straight down the middle between the 6 of diamonds and the 9 of spades, and then you do a perfect Faro shuffle, which would look like this, where the cards interweave every other, one by one, you push them together, you are now in mnemonic a stack as long as you can cut it between the 4 of clubs and 9 of diamonds here. This is called mnemonic a stack, and it's a prop that magicians use all the time, where a lot of us have actually memorized this specific order. That I now know the entire order of every single card one by one, and it's completely random. I can take it out of the box, give it a quick Faro shuffle and a cut, and now I know the entire order of this entire deck. When it comes to your number cards, they're all going to be United States Playing Cards Company standard, so this is going to be perfect for Magic. Your 3 aces are going to match the rest of the number cards. When it comes to your court cards, I'm extremely happy with them because they took the basic idea from the normal bicycle playing cards, but then they cleaned up the lines a lot. So if you look at them and then you look at a normal deck of bicycle playing cards, you'll see that these lines are much more straight, or if there's circles, they're actually circles instead of oblong. Everything is way more clean on this deck. So you have the colors that are a little bit more faded. Everything is still standard. And lastly, they took the Queen of Hearts, which normally would be a one-way card, and made it a two-way card, because normally there would be a triangle on either right here or up here, and they removed that. That way this is going to be a two-way card, just like all the others, which just shows how much intentionality went into this deck. Your first ad card is going to be a duplicate 7 of Hearts, but on this side, you're going to see that in this corner down here, and this corner up here, there's a small dot in both of those corners. That way, if you're using this in a magic trick, you'll know exactly which one is your duplicate. Now we're on to the duplicate jokers. They're absolutely beautiful, but they do have some hidden qualities in them. So they're not entirely like duplicate, because if you just give them a quick shake like this, you'll see that they turn from duplicate jokers into duplicate ace of hearts, which I still don't entirely understand how they work. Now the only thing I've been able to figure out so far is the fact that even though it looked like you had 2 jokers and then 2 ace of hearts, there's actually only 1 joker and 1 ace of hearts, which again still doesn't entirely make sense to me. The only thing I've been able to reason out on how that you can go from 2 jokers to 2 ace of hearts to 1 joker and 1 ace of hearts is the fact that you have that 2 of clubs, and then you can just kind of use the 2 of clubs to be able to get that to work. The 3 cards I'm actually holding, of course, are then going to be a joker with a regular back. You have an ace of hearts with a joker on the back, and you have a regular back with a half ace of hearts and a half 2 of clubs. And last but not least, your False Anchors Workers Edition playing cards, ace of spades. Now I did already show you a Faro shuffle from One Direction, which I will not start singing any of their songs, but from bottom to top, they do Faro beautifully every other, and I've had no issue faring them that way, but I haven't actually tried it from top to bottom, so oh wow, that was extremely easy. No issue there. So if you're going to be Faro shuffling this deck, you're going to be just fine. Then when it comes to the stock finish and feel of these playing cards, it is going to be on USPCC's classic stock, which is going to be middle of the line. If you've held a deck of bicycle playing cards, you know how thick this deck is going to feel in your hands. It's not going to be too thick or too thin. When it comes to the finish, again, it's going to glide beautifully. Still has those nice air pockets, the air cushion finish. So if you're going to be doing any type of moves where you have to have them glide, it's going to glide absolutely exquisitely. And then lastly, how it's going to actually feel in your hand. Some decks are more buttery, some decks are more snappy. Buttery decks are more like malleable for things like, I don't know, Under Pressure, which would look like this. Clearly it looks great for cardistry as well, or the card spring. So those are moves in cardistry that are a little bit more for buttery decks. And then for snappy decks, or snappy moves within cardistry at least, you'd have something like ATM, which would look like this. Or something like Backdrop, which would look like this. So both of those moves are more for more snappy decks. This one is definitely a little bit more on the malleable side. So if you're going to be doing moves like the lapel spread or anything like that, or moves that require a little bit more malleability within your card tricks, this deck is going to be great for you, though clearly anything that I've done with this deck so far has worked great, so you're not going to be like, oh no, I can't do it because it's not a snappy deck. No, this one, honestly, it handles beautifully, so I've had no issues whatsoever. Unless, of course, it's a user error based off that last card spring. And if you are wanting to read the marking system for that deck, as you can see, there's a lot of different stuff on the back design. If you're wanting to know what the marking system is, make sure to check out the tutorial that's going to drop Sunday, so subscribe and ring the bell. If it has already dropped, I'll try to link it right up here and in the description below. But if you're thinking to yourself, Magic really isn't my thing, I'm much more of a cardistry person, then I definitely have the deck for you. These are Descendants playing cards, and they look absolutely stunning when doing all sorts of different cardistry moves, and if you want to pick them up, I'd highly recommend it. I created them myself, and you can check them out in the description below and popping up on the screen. I'll catch you guys in the next video. This is CPM, signing off.